Hey, Dylan. Forgive me, guys. I haven't done this in so long. I've totally forgotten how to do this correctly. I'm good, Sean. How are you? Oh, hello, fucka. That's nice. Somebody's been watching Archie Luxury. That's terrific. Yeah, sorry. This is I know it's been a very long time since I've done a live session. I think it was probably December-ish, so. Hey, Paul. So, hey guys, I know I'm sorry I haven't been around much anymore. I've been really busy and whatever, but I wanted to just stop in and say hi. And yeah, I look tired because I have allergies right now. My eyes hurt, so I'm cool. I'm all right, Brian. Yeah, let's talk watches. Greetings from London there. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Michael. So guys, what can we talk about today? I just wanted to drop in and see how you guys are and say hi. Yeah, Kindred, you can share it with your fuckhead friends too. We like fun stuff in the comments. So anyway, guys, I apologize for not being around much, but yeah, let's talk about watches or whatever. I just figured I'd drop in. So there's a great question. So Michael, talk about micro brands. Is there any investment value? So I'm actually going to be talking about a micro brand tomorrow. This one, which you'll have to watch the review. I'd say of the ones that I've reviewed, the one you're going to see tomorrow is probably the favorite one I've looked at. But as far as the investment value, I don't think there is one. I think, I think you buy it and I think it's basically worthless after you buy it, but hopefully you enjoy it 5 or 10 years is kind of my thought about it. But I definitely would not buy one assuming it's going to be a future collector's item. That's probably not going to work out so well. 34 millimeter Air King, Ryan. Yeah, that's one of my favorite watches, truthfully. But I can't wear a 34 mil. I'm too big frame for something like that. But I think that they're a classic watch. I think if you can wear a smaller watch, I think they're awesome value for the money. I mean, I think wearability on that's even better than a Datejust because you can wear it just about anywhere. And again, if you're okay with a smaller size watch, I think it's an awesome watch. Brian, 36 versus 39 mil Datejust. 36 is the traditional size. I was buying when I go for 39 mil just because of my needs, but I think 36 is probably better value than 39. Hey, Justin. Use Rolex Datejust or new Aquaterra. I'd go for the Datejust. It's going to hold its value. It's going to be easier to service, and yeah, that's just my thoughts. But I think the Aquaterra is probably a more modern looking watch. Wow, cool. Here come the comments. IWC Portuguese chronograph or Rolex Batman? I like both a lot, but I would go for the Rolex Batman just because I like to buy watches that I know are going to hold their value and, if anything, appreciate and, whatever. Hey, Nav-san. Yes, I know you love micro brands so much. Any thoughts on the Grand Seiko rebranding? I'm torn. I get why they did it, and I think it's going to help them sell better because I think a lot of people want that prestige factor. And I know like people were making it akin to like cars and like Hyundai making the Genesis its own brand. And I think with Hyundai and Genesis, I think that makes total sense, just like Lexus did with their luxury cars. I like the GS having Seiko and all that on the dial. I liked it being one and the same, so I don't really have a great opinion. So I'm not sure how I feel. I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh crap! Here comes a lot of comments. Hold on a sec, guys. Do I think I'll ever build my own watch? Not in the near future, because the quality out there for what I would want to offer, I'd want to build something that was really good quality and value for the money. And what I think I could get built to a good price wouldn't be quality that I'd want my name on. So if I find something that I think would be respectable quality and good value, then maybe. But I don't want to sell people Chinese, not Chinese crap. There are some really good Chinese watches. I'm actually wearing one. But I wouldn't want to sell something that is a ripoff and have my name on the dial. It would have to be a really good watch for me to have anything to do with it. Cedar Canoe. Yeah, I heard about Ganault. They actually reached out to me and wanted me to review one of their watches. And, I think it's a nice quality piece from what I've heard, but I'm not into homages. And again, they offered me to review one, and I couldn't bring myself to agree to it. I didn't think you guys would want to watch it, and I just couldn't support it. And again, if you enjoy it, and I gather you're enjoying yours, I think that's great. I'm not the kind of person that appreciates homages, but nothing against them if that's your thing. They're just not for me. Michael Pine's SKX007, yeah, that's a classic. Matt, let's see. You pulled the trigger on a SARP 35. Yeah, you're gonna love it. I can't even explain it. I freaking love those watches, and I really wish mine hadn't died on me. And I know people are asking if I'll buy another one, and of course I will. I gotta get around to it. I have more watches than I can wear now. Can you lol, please? Okay, I don't know how to say about that. Wow, I'm gonna catch up on these comments. Justin, Cartier tank dress watch. Those are cool. Actually, I like those a lot. I would totally wear one. I also like the Roadster, and I also like the Pasha, believe it or not. I think there's some cool classic Cartiers out there. Jack came back. I don't know about Gant. Sorry, I'm not sure what that is. Like you did in the car video. Yeah, I know. I was acting like an idiot in the manual transmission car video. I'm okay with embarrassing myself on the internet. It's okay. Seiko Turtle is better than SKX now. I don't know. I think the Turtle. I think the Turtle is really cool. I would definitely wear one. And I know the Patty is really popular still. I don't want to have a watch everybody else has, but I may break down and buy one at some point. Hey, Michael, how are you, sir? Hopefully you're bringing out your 911 now that summer's coming up in your Chicagoland. I hate the brand. Seiko in general has no legs, in my opinion. Fuck, this live stream has took me by surprise. Let me take this shaving cream off my ball. Paul, I love you. Anthony of our JLC Reverso or Tudor Pelagos. JLC Reverso. I like the Tudor, don't get me wrong, but the JLC is a classic. I mean, it's up there with the Omega Speedmaster and the Rolex Submariner. I mean, it's a trend watch, and not trend watch, it's an icon. The Tudor Pelagos is a cool watch, but it's not a Reverso. A Reverso is a very distinct thing. It has a great history and a following, and it's always going to be in demand. What is the site to buy a great NATO strap other than eBay? Honestly, I don't know. I've never bought a NATO strap apart from buying one like at a Target many years ago, so I can't help you with that. Sorry. I would look on eBay if I was looking for one. What kind of people can pull off a gold watch in your opinion? I don't know. I had a solid gold watch and I didn't feel like I wore it well, so I can't say that it fit me, but I'm guessing somebody who's got gangster style that I don't. Kindred Spirit, you look like an ecstasy when changing gear in your Corvette. Yeah, no, I know. That's kind of like a rolling orgasm for me. I can't say that on YouTube anymore. Yeah, I mean, life is stressful, and to me, driving a manual transmission is a very kind of zen thing to do. It's a great way to kind of center yourself and let shit go. So yeah, I was having fun. I edited a lot out of that video because I didn't want to incriminate myself on the internet, but I assure you that was a fun drive for me. Ziggy323F, shout out please. I'll shout out to you. Has the turtle got legs, or I don't know. I would think so. I mean, the turtle's been around for a very long time, so if you're talking about it in that respect, I'm sure it's gonna be around for a while. Yeah. Bulgari, Justin. I don't know the Octo Finissimo. I'll have to look at it. I'm not a big Bulgari guy. I think of them as being basically a jewelry company. So sorry, dude. You know more about that than I do. Yeah, Kindred, I haven't been paying attention. I'm guessing the turtles have gone up quite a bit, or excuse me, the SKX have gone up quite a bit with all the rumors they got discontinued and all that. But yeah. Wow. Well, let's see. JLC Club, is it a real JLC for you? Don't know what you mean by that. You can clarify. No, the animal. Has a turtle got legs? Yes, of course turtle has legs. Haven't you ever seen them come out of their shell? Maybe you scared them. I'm glad I can impress your wife, Ziggy. I think she needs to raise her standards. I'm not that impressive of a person to shout out to you. Let's see. Hey, Brasco. A 10-year-old Oris Big Crown on a 40 millimeter on a bracelet. Thoughts? I think those are cool. I've said in zillions of videos that I like Oris a lot. I never have owned one, and I've yet to have a reason to have one, but I definitely respect them. And I think, Mark, who's usually on my videos quite a bit in terms of the comment section, great guy, great watch collector, has the Arctex GT just like my friend Kibble on YouTube has, and I think that's a really cool watch. I think that's actually probably the best value Oris out there. But yeah, the Big Crown's a cool watch too. Can I get a free watch? Lol, just kidding. I just came across your channel. It's keep work. Thank you. And the answer is yeah, I would be happy to give you a free watch. So truthfully, and I know this sounds ridiculous, I have a couple extra spare watches I was going to give away. I was going to give away like the Vostok and some of these micro brands people sent me, and I actually gave away 2 of them last month to a family friend. But part of it is I don't really want to give out my address and my personal details to ship them. So if I can find a way to keep anonymity but give out free watches at some point, it's going to happen. I just I like my privacy too much at this point. GLC Master Mamavox. All right, I might do what? Once a Ford Focus RS is paid off. Yeah, you know what, Michael? I like the Mamavox a lot. And I know they just kind of brought it back a little bit more vintage-inspired one, but that thing's been around forever. And the ones from the 60s still command a good value, so I think that'd be a good piece. Yeah, the Focus RS, it has my respect. It's a car that I didn't think much of, but I definitely I appreciate them more now than I did. So I was watching the recent new Top Gear sessions in the UK where they were comparing it to the Honda Civic R, and clearly they liked it too. So I can't say I'm a fan of that new Top Gear though. But yeah, awesome car. I'd like to drive one. So if I ever run into you, I'm going to be stealing your keys. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the Oris Aquos date? Let me look it up. Well, I know what the Aquos is. The date? Oh, you're just talking about the one with the date on it. Yeah, I'm thinking there's a model I'm not thinking of. It's a really nice watch. And as you're talking about a really good value for an entry-level value watch. I mean, I know the retail on them is well over $1,000. I've seen them up around 2 or more. But I think you can get a pretty good deal. And I think especially if you get one in the $900 to $1,500 mark, I think it's fantastic value for the money. Now, I mean, my brain is I'd either rather pay several grand more and have a higher end, like a Rolex or something, or I'd buy a Seiko Sumo. So to me, they're kind of in a place I don't really investigate in the market, but I think they're a great watch for a lot of people, and they make sense for a lot of people. So I would be happy to wear one. And I know on Instagram, several of you guys have them, and they definitely look pretty cool. So far be it for me, I would definitely wear one. Youngins or Nomos for Bauhaus? Both. Youngins has the Max Bill series, which I think is really, really cool. And, Nomos, they're cool too. My friend Mark let me borrow one of his, and I enjoyed it too, except his is a smaller size. I think his is 34 mil-ish. So I'd like to try one a little bit larger. I worry about servicing them because they use in-house movements. But other than that, they're cool watches. I think either one's a good one. And if you want to get a sense for a Nomos, there's that cheap version that Rodina or whatever I think you can find on eBay. It's like basically a Nomos knockoff. You can try one of those out too and see if you like the way it looks on your wrist. Use a PO box. Yeah, no, you're right. I know. That's something I could definitely do. I'm being lazy. Thank you for the support. I have spent $1,000 on cheap watches, and I realized that I was trying to cover up my lust for a sub. What could I do with them now? If I was you, I would put them on eBay or find friends you can sell them to. A watch dealer is not going to buy them off of you for those kind of watches, more than likely. If they did, they'd offer you nothing for it. So I'd pop them on eBay. If you want to get a lot of attention, you can take really, really good pictures, and you put no reserve auctions on them, but there's always the risk that they might sell for less than you want. It's worked out for me, but there's definitely a chance that it may not for you. But yeah, I mean, if you want to do that, I'd liquidate them on eBay. Understand you're going to pay about 10% in fees. So whatever you get, so you make $500, you're going to be paying 50 in fees to eBay. So just when I first got into eBay, that wasn't really clear to me. So just be aware that they're going to get dinged for that. But that's probably what I would do, is go that way to get rid of them. Matthew, shout out from Royal Oak, Michigan. Hey, yeah, I used to live down the street from Royal Oak. The last place I lived in Michigan was Birmingham, so we may have passed each other on Woodward for all I know. I used to go to 13 Mile and Woodward every Friday night and hang out with the car guys there. Back in the day when I had my old BMW that I loved to death. So yeah, no, I miss Michigan. I'm good to see you. IWC Ingenue Titanium AMG or Bremont Supermarine. I'll be honest, neither one of them is my taste. Of the two, though, I do really like the IWC Ingenieur series. I think those are kind of cool. Bremont, I respect what they're trying to do, but they still really don't speak to me. So, and as far as resale goes, the IWC is going to have better resale than the Bremont. But either way, if you're buying one, I would definitely try to get yourself a good deal. I think they're not going to hold value all that well. The real J.Anthony. That's okay. You can be J.Anthony too. I just hope I don't bring down your reputation. Why isn't anybody talking about King Seiko? Yeah, I don't know, Lars. King Seiko is a great thing to talk about. A lot of those old King Seikos are, and a lot of people consider them to be as good as, if not better than, vintage Grand Seikos. I know Lord Maddox are up there too. So yeah, I'm not an expert on King Seiko, but they're definitely watches that deserve to get some credit. Wow, so many comments. Let's see. Holy crap, guys. Sorry, I can't keep up. Is the kahunas on the t-shirt related to Big Kahuna Burger from Pulp Fiction? No, sorry. I have no idea. This is just a random shirt I bought on a vacation. So maybe, I don't know. Sorry. AJ, let's see. What's my take on Parnas? I had one. There's a review on the channel from about 2 years ago, which is not a great review. Hit or miss. So there's not really a company called Parnas per se. They're all kind of these watches people throw together as like homages in China from various bits and pieces, to my understanding. The one I had was kind of like a Chrono Swiss replica. It was a cool watch. I won it on an auction for like 50 bucks, and I sold it on an auction for like 50 bucks. Fit and finish was okay. It had some rough edges on it. It had like a knockoff Unitas movement in it. And it was a cool watch for what it was. Quality was so-so, but it looked really cool, and it had some cool features for the money. So as kind of a beater watch, I think it's pretty cool if you want to get something kind of stylish for not a lot of money. Greetings from hi to people, those of you in Sweden. I'd actually love to go to Sweden, by the way, at some point. I actually would love to go toward like the Stockholm subways. I've seen lots of photographs and videos. You guys have like the coolest subway system I've ever seen in Stockholm, but I know there's more to Sweden than just Stockholm, but I would like to go for a multitude of reasons. Nilux, hey Nilux. If you spent $8,000 on a bunch of watch to cover for your loss for summer, that's a different story. Yeah, exactly. That'd be a Greek tragedy. That. Wow, I gotta catch up with these. Any thoughts on the baby Mantra Tuna? Real fancy to add to my collection. This looks different. Hi from the UK. Hey, greetings to the UK. Yeah, the baby monster and the baby tuners are cool too. Those are really good value for money. And if you're not going to go diving with it, I'd probably recommend you just buy one of those instead, because they have all the same kind of looks, and you can just wear them like an everyday watch. Those are cool. Shout out to Troy. As I was saying, in Troy, Michigan, to Eric, as I was saying earlier, I used to live in Birmingham, and I was in West Bloomfield for a long time before that. So I spent a lot of time at Somerset Collection in Troy, Michigan. So for all I know, we walked by each other at some point. I have a lot of hair. Will I ever be bald? Do you mean will I ever be bald? I hope not. Yeah, my hair is too short. They screwed up at my haircut. I closed my eyes and let them do what they were supposed to do, open my eyes and realized they basically shaved my head. So I'm still not happy with my haircut as it is, but I hope not. I do have a lot of hair. What do I think of the new McLaren 720S style? I think it's really grown on me. Yeah, Bresco, I really like McLaren. I have a lot of respect for them. I think technologically, I had the same feeling for them like I do for Tesla. I think that they make extremely amazing cars in terms of performance and design, but they don't really speak to me beyond that. I think the McLaren that is always going to be my halo car is the F1, because as you know, I just like old school stuff. I want a manual transmission, I want no traction control, and I want a naturally aspirated engine. And the F1 to me is the epitome of the supercar. 242 miles an hour, 6-speed manual, BMW naturally aspirated V12. I mean, that to me is the McLaren I lost after. All the new ones, every 6 months there's going to be a new version, and that one's going to become, kind of, nobody's going to want it. But to me, the F1 is always just going to be kind of an awesome car. And so it's cool, but I don't lust after one. Just having a nice cigar and a JD and Coke in the garden. All is perfect apart from my wife's underwear is perfect. Oh, you're a funny guy. Oh, sorry. I got so many comments here, guys. Apologize. Can I recommend a watch strap company source? I'll be honest, I don't know anything about watch straps. The ones that I have are ones that basically kind of mix and match between various watches, or I bought on eBay. I bought like, like Hadley Roma, I bought a couple of their straps, but usually I just buy stuff on eBay for a good price or NATOs. So I apologize. I know Long Island Watch, I've looked at buying straps from them before, and those sailcloth straps I reviewed on the channel, I like those too, but I'll be honest, I really don't know a lot about good straps, so sorry about that. Would I ever buy a watch at a pawn shop? More than likely, no, unless I could thoroughly examine it and I could convince them to sell it to me for a good price. A lot of the stuff that goes into pawn shops, I would assume, is in really rough shape and probably beat to hell, and they're probably going to want too much money for it. So if I walked into a pawn shop and I thought I could get a good deal and I knew the watch intimately and I could make sure it was as represented and not, full of Chinese parts or molested, then yeah, but more than likely that's not going to be a common situation that's going to occur. Hi, Steve from Wales. Eric, what's my opinion on Steinhardt? Kind of like we were talking about earlier with Ganalt. I mean, I respect them a lot. I think they make a really great quality homage watch for what they are, but I'm just not an homage watch kind of guy. When they start making watches that are kind of very much their own design, I'll probably take a lot more interest in them. But I've heard that, the founder of the company is an awesome guy. I've heard the quality is great, and I've never heard somebody that don't want to tell me they hated the watch. So if you're into homages and that speaks to you, then yeah, I think they make a good watch. The flippity flop, what's your favorite animal? My favorite animal is a gray wolf. That's a funny question, but no, seriously, I'm obsessed with wolves, and I like to be the lone wolf. And I was going to get a dog called a Tamaskin, which is like a hybrid between a husky and a wolf, but I travel too much to take care of a dog right now, and I'd also be afraid my neighbors would kill it thinking it was a wild wolf. But no, that's my favorite animal. How about you? Thanks, Uno. Yeah, the new job is sucking up all my free time. I'm basically out of town 4 or 5 days a week. I get home, I do laundry, I clean out my stuff, and I take off again. So I'm racking up frequent flyer miles, and I'm driving a bunch of random rental cars, which is kind of fun too, but no free time. Mustafa, thank you for your advice. Thank you. I'm really happy that you've enjoyed it and that you've bought some good Seikos. That's I'm really happy that we can help people get into watches. So I'm really happy that you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, Mustafa. Brasco, you disagree. And feel free to explain why you feel that way. You may know better than me. That's just my opinion. But you're, as always, guys, it's just an opinion. You can disagree with me. Yeah, IWC Portuguese does hold its value. Okay, I'm saying in context of Swiss watches. I mean, the only two watches that really hold their value are Rolex and Patek. Everything else, with a couple exceptions, like vintage Monacos, original Omega Speedmasters, there's exceptions to this rule, don't get me wrong. But outside of like Rolex and Patek, don't buy a watch and expect it to really hold its value in the long term. But yeah, the Portuguese is a really nice watch. And in context of the other Swiss watches, I mean, it's going to hold its value a hell of a lot better than like a Tag Heuer would, or a Breitling, or a lot of other watches. So I'm not saying that either. But it is a cool watch, and I really appreciate it, and I'd be happy to wear one too. So I don't mean it that way. Hello from England, Robert. Thank you. I really appreciate that. England's also on my list of places to visit. I was gonna move there actually a couple of years ago to Harrogate. I had a job opportunity to move there, and thank God I didn't, because right after I was going to move, they ended up closing down that office. So I almost was in England. So no, I have nothing but nice things to think about when I think about England. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Seamaster or Speedmaster? I own a Seamaster. I've owned a Speedmaster Reduced, which I don't miss. The original Speedmaster Professional, though, I like a lot better than the Seamaster. But yeah, I still have a Seamaster that I enjoy because I'm, grew up in the Brosnan era, so I have it. It's around in my office somewhere. I have to go find it. But yeah, great watches. Either one's a great watch. But yeah, I definitely prefer the Speedmaster. To me, it's the icon. What are my thoughts on Seiko mods? I think they're really cool. CG, AWC, she does some really cool mods of Seikos, has some really good videos up. I check her out completely. And I'd subscribe to her too. She's just awesome. But yeah, she does some awesome mods. And I know Kurt from Minute Watch does too. So I've never modded one of my watches. I tend to be all about originality and stuff because I'm weird. But yeah, there's a whole cool modding community out there. And actually my Sumo, when I bought it, had a Yoboki's bezel on it too, which got damaged. So I replaced with a stock one, sadly. But it was really cool. I think there's some really nice things out there. Stefan, yeah, the Orient Star Classic, that's a really, really nice watch. I owned a couple Orients back in the day too, and I was very happy with them. What do I think about Ganalt's practice of giving up 60% discount on their watch if you would do a YouTube review on it? Yeah, that made me uncomfortable too. That was another reason I didn't want to review one of their watches. I didn't want to become like a sales rep for them. To me, whenever I review watches, whether I own them or somebody gave them to me, I want to be 100% honest, and I don't want to feel like I'm under pressure to say things or do things that I'm not in agreement with. So it made me uncomfortable. That was another reason I turned it down. But it also tells you that the retail price is probably overly inflated, doesn't it? Let's see. Does this save me from watching the Eurovision Song Contest? Any suggestions within the $500 to $1,000 range, yo? Well, you're already buying Seikos and Casios, so if you want to stay Japanese, I don't know which ones you own. I mean, there's a million Seikos and Casios in that range. So, I mean, obviously, you should be looking at Presage and Sark's line if you're looking at Seikos. Casios in that line, I don't really know what you'd be buying in that range. But, if you're looking at Swiss watches, then you can buy some vintage or pre-owned Oris and Hamiltons, which are great value too. I mean, I don't know really what you're looking for. Basilis, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. What? Hello, J.Anthony Live videos. Just curious about your opinion on a particular brand. Which character from Shrek do you identify with most? What character do I identify with from Shrek with the most? I do know Shrek. I've watched Shrek. It's probably been about 10 years. I don't know. I think Donkey is really funny, but I don't really relate to Donkey. Probably Shrek. Although I don't, yeah, probably Shrek's the one I relate to the most. How about you? Tell you nasty, vicious fuckers every time. Yeah, some Archie fanboys in here, which is fine. Wow. Yeah, Brian. Yeah, straight razor shaving and manual transmissions. I'm with you. No, I only use a straight razor too. To me, it's you just don't get this. I don't know. You don't get the same kind of close shave, and I have really gritty hair. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I use a straight razor too. So straight razors and manual transmissions apparently are a thing, and manual watches or mechanical watches. To fund BLNR, do you miss my subs? Hey, Steve. That's a good question. And I just lost your comment because I apparently am way behind. I love Panerai, obviously, which is something I don't like saying in public, but it's true. And I'm inside. I love my Radiomir. I think if you're going to go between that and Rolex, I'd probably go for the Rolex. I think it's a long-term better investment. But if you don't care about investments and if you're buying a Panerai, it's hit or miss. I would definitely recommend a Panerai. I almost bought a PAM 90 about 2 weeks ago, actually. And I always didn't buy it as I thought it'd be kind of repetitive with the Radiomir, but the PAM 90 had the power reserve indicator. But they both have the ETA/Valju 7750 movement. So either would be cool. But yeah, it comes down to personal preference. Up to you, dude. Either way, it's not a bad choice. What would you choose between Breitling and Tudor for a first serious watch? Nice live so far, by the way. Thank you, Alex. That really depends. It depends on, I think, the budget. So Breitling versus Tudor. Breitling, if you can afford like a traditional old school Breitling, like a Navitimer, I would go for the Navitimer. The Navitimer is a classic. If you were going to go for, we're talking like $2,000 to $3,000 range, you're basically looking at like an entry-level Breitling or a used Breitling or an entry-level Tudor. I'd probably lean more towards the Tudor. Like the Blancpain, I think, is a great way to get into watches. Has an old school watch feeling, has the Rolex name behind it. I think you could do far worse. I think either way, you're getting a great watch. Wow, so many comments. Fight and Flounder, do I have any beater watches in the collection? Yeah, of course. I mean, you guys know that I'm not just all into expensive watches. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, which you don't need to, I wear a Casio G-Shock a lot. And then I have, actually, let me grab something. I have a bunch of random watches around here. So I still occasionally wear my little Vostok, which is still looks brand new. And I don't know. There's some other random watches around here, like old like Timexes and stuff that I do pick up on. So yeah, I'm not against beater watches at all. Thoughts on Omega's customer service? You know, I've never dealt with them. Well, actually, that's not true. So if you've seen the review, I bought my father an Omega Seamaster many years ago, the quartz version, and he had a lot of issues with that watch. Like the thing, like I think they should replace the movement in it. The short end of it is, I went into Omega on 3 different. Yeah, this is coming back to me now. We had to send it back into Omega under warranty 3 different times. Eventually, they just went ahead and they replaced the movement, which was, you know, kind of ridiculous. It took them 3 times to figure it out. So I have a one-time experience with them. It was under warranty, so we didn't pay anything. But yeah, I went back to Omega for over a month each time, and it broke on 3 different occasions. So that's my one experience of Omega. I know another friend of mine that I met through YouTube sent his in, and they rejected service on it, but his was missing a serial number too. So if I was Omega, I get that perspective too. I can see why they wouldn't service a watch that the serial number has been removed from it. So those are my only real experiences with Omega. The only company that I know has really awful service that I've heard of on multiple occasions is Audemars Piguet or Piguet. Wow, guys, sorry, there's so many comments. Robert, what I think of Breitling service centers? I only have one example of service with them too. I had a Navitimer in Mont Brillant that broke twice, and both times they failed to fix it. It had the Valjoux de Pras module built on top of a 2892 ETA architecture, so it was, you know, basically the base movement plus the chronograph module. So I get that they're really complex, but basically the second hand kept slowly moving away from 12 when you'd reset it, and they couldn't seem to fix it. So eventually I sold it back to Tourneau at the time, and they bought it back for what I paid for it because I was just sick of dealing with it. So I have one example I can't tell you. I had another Navitimer, which the crystal got scratched on. I brought it to a local AD and asked them to give me a quote, and they wanted $800 to replace the sapphire crystal, which is absurd. Because they said they had to do a full service on the watch since they were taking the crystal out of it, which I thought was utter nonsense. So I have 2 examples of service from them, and that's all I really know about it. When you travel, how many watches do you take, Michael? So typically I take one nice watch, and I take like 1 beater. So like where I'm going, like basically like every week now through the end of the year almost. We'll see how that works out. There's some safe parts of town and not so safe parts of town. So when I'm in the office, I'll typically bring one of my nicer watches. You know, like this week I brought my Rolex Explorer with me. I had my Omega Seamaster with me last week. But then I'll also bring like a Casio G-Shock or something with me. So if I'm going out in the city at night or in the airports and I'm going through security, I'll be wearing my Casio, and I'll have my Rolex whatever buried in my suitcase. And then when I get to my hotel, I'll swap out for my nice watch and I'll wear it to the office. So I typically bring at least 2 watches, you know, one for, you know, going through security and being in rough areas, and one to wear at the office or when I'm in a place that I know. Jack, do you have clocks in your house, vintage or inexpensive quartz? From my experience, watch I've seen at least 1 analog clock. Oh yeah, absolutely I do. I don't remember where I put them. Yeah, I have clocks like everywhere. I have them on my desk. I have one over my desk. Every room I probably have 2 or 3 clocks in them. I love clocks. My favorite one, and I thought it was in here. I don't know what I did with it. I have 2 clocks that I really like. I have one from the first cruising of the SS Normandy. It's a kind of cool vintage Art Deco looking clock. And then I have a vintage General Electric telechrome clock, which if you guys are into vintage clocks, those are super cool and they're really affordable. It's electric. You plug it into a wall. It's got a continuous sweep. I don't plug mine in because I just have a fear of it catching on fire for some reason, but really cool. Yeah, I love vintage clocks. I love grandfather clocks too, but they don't really fit with my modern aesthetic, but I appreciate them. Vasilis, what Rolex would I buy as my third? I'm really looking to at some point buy a 6166622. The Platinum Yachtmaster. I want a Platinum Yachtmaster, not the solid platinum. I want just the platinum bezel and like the platinum bits on the dial with, I want the blue dial. So I want like the silverish tone with a blue dial. That's what I want. I'm looking for one at a good price that's in good shape. That's my next Rolex purchase, I think. Would you like the Grand Seiko homage editions of the Grand Seiko? I'll be honest, I haven't seen those. I'll have to take a look at those. I don't know about those. Anthony, have you heard of a vintage Seconda? Yes, I don't know much about them, but my friend James from It's Kibble Talks Watches, I know has a couple and he loves them. So I've heard good things. And as far as I know, they never sold them in the US. So I don't really have any firsthand experience with them. Hey, Jason Moon. Paul, you're heading to Orlando on holiday. My Blancpain house in the water, so I'm bringing my Citizen Pro Master. Yeah, I think that's a good decision. And I take it you're heading to Universal or Disney World, which are two of my favorite places. I just got back. I took a trip to Disney, what was it, back in February, spamming people on Instagram with stuff. So I try to go once every year, every 2 years. So would have been nice if our travel overlapped. I would have pinged you. But have fun. And yeah, I wouldn't take anything overly nice in a pool because it could be just even a worn gasket or something can be a disaster. So I wouldn't play that. They leave. I played any video games lately? Yeah, so I did end up playing Mass Effect Andromeda, and I was expecting it to be awful, and it actually was okay. I wish it was better though. And then I saw that Prey just came out, so I'd like to play Prey at some point, but I have like no free time anymore. So, how about you? Any games you think I should be paying attention to? Oh, guys, I'm really behind on comments. Sorry, I'm like half a page above you guys. Where did wow, I'm gonna have to start skipping some of these guys. Sorry, I'm way behind. And you know, we talked earlier about Grand Seiko and the new branding. I prefer the old branding, but I get what they did, and I think it's going to lead them to hopefully better sales. So I guess on that front, I hope to do well with it. But I liked it the way they were, but I'm not a big fan of change. When I buy a pre-owned watch from Bob's or Crown and Caliber, I have bought watches from Bob's. I bought my Rolex President from them, and I bought a Datejust 166. No, I don't remember the model. It was a 36 mil two-tone Roman dial. It's on my channel. That was a nice watch. I actually made quite a bit of money on that watch at the time. They've raised their prices though. And my father bought a two-tone sub from them, 16613, that's also been on the channel. So I've dealt with them. Crown and Caliber, I've never dealt with them. But Bob's is okay. They've really raised their prices though. So I don't know. Excuse me, I haven't dealt with them like in 3 years or more, actually more than that. So I couldn't tell you how they are now. Thank you, Don Testa. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Are Glasschütte and Lange&Söhne on the same level? No. Think of Glasschütte like Tudor level versus Lange&Söhne Rolex level. Although I say that just to give a sense of tiers, or like Lexus versus Toyota. But in reality, Glasschütte is like Rolex level. I mean, they're really nice watches, and Lange&Söhne is a whole other level. Lange&Söhne competes with like Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, Vacheron, Constantin. Glasschütte is more like Rolex Omega Breitling pricing. You know, if you look at them side by side, they look very, very similar, but the level of detail that goes into a Lange is that much more. I think most people will be happy with a Glasschütte, honestly. But the hand finishing and stuff that goes into a Lange is a whole other level. The German silver, I mean, they're very different in terms of the fine details, but aesthetically, and I think for most people, I think, you know, I don't think a lot of people will be able to tell the difference, but no, they're very different levels. Nylox, have any experience with PVD coated cases? Yeah, I've had a couple. My last one was an Invicta that I did on that Why I Hate Swiss Quartz video. And of course, with all of them, the PVD, you scratch it up and it comes off. So I'm not a big fan of PVD at all. Corey, Rolex service wants to replace kind of the parts. Where can I service my watch without losing original parts? Corey, you have to take it to an independent dealer, unfortunately. That's just kind of the way it is. Yeah, Rolex, like I have a vintage 16710 GMT Master 2. And you're going to have to, you know, if you take it to Rolex, they'll want to replace the dial. And I have the original tritium dial, and it's got specs on it. It's got that stardust effect going on. And it's actually part of the value of the watch. And Rolex would put a modern, you know, Swiss dial on it, and it would kill the value of the watch. So you have to take it to an independent, unfortunately, and hopefully you can find a good one that you can trust. But yeah, Rolex is going to make you replace stuff you don't want to replace. Sean, what am I drinking? I'm drinking coffee out of a Yeti mug. Trying to keep it warm because when I talk like this, I lose my voice. Kirill, should I get a vintage Breitling Aerospace Quartz or a Zin 103? I think they're both great watches. The Breitling is cheaper. Yeah, not Quartz, but still. I mean, you buy what you like. I mean, neither one of those would be on my radar, but they're both nice watches. And the aerospace has grown on me. I've seen a couple now on like a nice strap, and I respect it now. I hated them for the longest time, but without a bracelet on a nice strap, I kind of appreciate them now. And if somebody gave me one, I would definitely wear one. But yeah, at the end of the day, neither one is really for me, but I think they're both nice watches, and you should buy what you like, because I think they're going to be about the same to you in the long run. Brasco, what are the strap brands to look out for? As I was saying earlier, I really don't know much about straps. I've been putting my sailcloth straps on my Monster, which I think are cool. And I've been buying like Hadley Roma leather straps, and I had those on the Sarb. I'd probably put a Hadley Roma, or like I really like Horween, Horween straps. Those look really nice on a Sarb too. If you can find Horween straps, they're about $60 or so. I think they're really nice straps. I think you'd like it on the Sarb. Jason, it seems like you have plenty of cash and lots of free time. Okay. Crude mechanical, love mine, chrome plated. Yeah, yeah, the Vostok's just a basic cool watch. It's you know, it's just what watchmaking is all about. It has its charm. If you buy PVD coded watch, make sure it's relatively affordable. Wow, how do I'm so far behind. Please help me. Where should I buy Seiko automatic dive watches in India? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know what the watch market looks like in India. I buy watches if I really know them well, and I have confidence of what they should look like and looking for them. I will buy like Seikos on eBay sometimes, or I buy them from like Seiya Japan or like Long Island Watch, or some sellers that have credibility selling Japanese watches. So that'd be my answer. I apologize. I really don't know what your choices are in India, but I would, online you should have plenty of opportunities to buy one. Andrew, Vostok Amphibia or Seiko 5? Seiko 5, I think, is a better watch. But if you already have a Seiko 5, I think the Vostok is a cool piece to add to your collection. It's a very quirky watch that kind of reminds you of the way watches used to be. And if you're a nerd, the engineering of the case back, the way it keeps out water, is actually really cool too. So there's kind of a geeky thing about it that's kind of cool from the Cold War. Buy a watch for the love, not the investment. Exactly. I ever had a Rolex bracelet refurbished. Was it a success? I have not. And I haven't because of fear of some idiot getting a hold of it and polishing it down to nothing, erasing the crown, and just, just ruining it. So no, I have not had a Rolex bracelet refurbished. The ones that I have, I've kind of refurbished myself. I brushed them and actually made them look new on my own, because I don't really trust people to deal with it. And if I send it to Rolex, I don't want to pay for them to overhaul it. So I can't really speak to that. Hi, from a farmer's market in NYC. Which one are you at? I may know, is that where you're at West Side Market, or are you in Chelsea? I probably know where you're at. What do I think of Frederic Constant? I appreciate them. I would never own one, but I've caught myself looking at them in person, and I think they have a really cool style for the price point, but they don't really speak to me. But I have a friend of mine that owns a couple. He also owns some Grand Seikos and some other high-end watches, and he likes them a lot. So you know what? Based on his feedback, they seem to be nice pieces, but yeah, they're not for me. IWC Le Petit Mark 18 versus Le Petit Spitfire Chrono is an everyday. They're both nice. I don't know. You tell me. Which one do you like better? I'd probably just go for the Chrono because I like the Chrono, but the Mark 18 you could wear anywhere too. I mean, it's a very versatile watch, so I mean, they're both really cool. Wow. Hi, Nero. Any thoughts on Bremo, Murat? Yeah, I talked about them earlier. I'm not a huge fan of them. I think they're has some cool style. I know Michael was in the comments earlier. I don't know where he went. I know he had a Bremo. If you're still on, Michael, and you want to give some feedback on your experience, I know you had one and you sold it. And I know Simon Crane used to have one. He sold his too. I think they're okay. The movements in them don't impress me. I know they have the new, and things have changed since I formed my original opinion, and now they have some cool movements in their watches. But yeah, I don't know. They don't speak to me. But I think they're nice. They're not for me. Does Treno sell Franken watches? I hope not. They better not. I mean, it's one of those things, right? Anytime you have humans involved, there's opportunities for people to make mistakes because people are imperfect, right? Sometimes when you go to a car dealership, you talk to people that are car guys and they know all about cars. And other times you walk in there and you know way more than the salespeople people. Tourneau's the same way, right? You may walk in and meet a guy who's a watch guy. He may be the one that bought some of these used watches, and you're going to get a good piece. Or you might get some guy that bought a watch they didn't realize was a Franken watch. And if you do discover there's issues with it, Tourneau would have to honor it and take care of it for you, because otherwise they're at risk of a lawsuit. But I would say I wouldn't think they would. They would never intentionally sell one, I would be confident in saying. And if they did, I think that they would take care of you. So, but yeah, I mean, people work there and people are prone to making mistakes. I mean, that's the same with anybody. There's some scary watches out there, unfortunately. Brasco, is a Ford GT worth $450? Do you think Ford screwed up with sticking a V6 in it? I was actually just watching all the reviews on that car. So it's funny, when I was living in Michigan, like 2003, 4, 5, 6, I was still in Michigan at that time. And I remember seeing the last generation Ford GT on the streets all the time. I took it for granted. They were everywhere. And I always thought they were cool, but I mean, to me, they were no more special than seeing like a Toyota Camry on the streets, because I was, all the Ford execs were driving them. And it's like only since I've left Michigan have I realized how special they were. And now that there's the new one out, I think the new one sounds really good for a V6. I thought it was going to sound like crap. And I hated the fact that it was a 7-speed, automatic, basically clutch gearbox DCT. So I would much rather have the last generation GT. And I think resale-wise, the last generation GT is going to do much better in the long term. But the new one as a performance car is leaps and bounds a better performance car. I mean, I was watching people drive it on the track, and I would be willing to bet it'd be picking on a lot of really modern exotic cars. I think it'd embarrass a Aventador SV easily. But yeah, V6 automatic supercar is not exactly on my lust list, but I think it's a cool car. I'd love to have an original Ford GT too from the 60s, but I wouldn't fit in one. I'm too tall. You love your M3, but the cops apparently don't. Yeah, I remember when I had my BMW 3 Series 2, I got pulled over all the time. It's, I don't know, it's funny. That was a cop magnet too. So I'm sorry about that. Yeah, they're just jealous. Oh, wow. Do you find your watch opinions, taste are constantly changing? The constant changes my opinions over the years is irritating. Yeah, no, of course it does. I mean, if you watched even the time I've been on YouTube, my opinions on watches have changed all the time. There was a time when I started on YouTube, I didn't like Seiko in the slightest. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. And I could have cared less about Grand Seiko, and to me, if it wasn't a prestige watch, I really didn't care. And then I sold all the Rolexes, and I went hardcore on cheap watches and whatever. I mean, yeah, it changes all the time. And I think that's normal. I think that means maturity, right? As you get older, you learn more about the world, you learn more about your opinions, and you investigate things. And I think people should be open to changing their opinion, right? Because I think the dumb people are the ones that think they have everything figured out. They really know nothing at all. I think we should always be open to being wrong and to trying new things. So I don't think there's anything wrong, but yeah, it is kind of annoying. You kind of build a great collection up and then you decide you like something else. So here's the old expression, you always want something until it's yours. Like basically you have to have something, and the second you get it, you want something else. So, that's kind of the way life is. Refurbishing the looseness in the bracelet, not the finish. Yeah, sorry, I don't have any experience with that. Don't know much about that. I've never done that. So yeah, I know some of like the Jubilee bracelets, like I had a two-tone Datejust I was just talking about. It had a lot of slack in the bracelet, and yeah, I can only imagine what it would have cost to put it right. So, oh, Union Square. Okay, yeah, nice area. Still love my Panerai. Absolutely, I still love my Panerai. No, let me pull it out. Yeah, I've been wearing it constantly. Oh, wrong watches. I have all my watches in here today for some reason. What I do with it. Wrong watch. This is what happens when you have too many watches. You don't even know where you put crap. Yeah. No, I love the Panerai. I'll actually, if I'm honest, it's probably my favorite luxury watch I have right now, which I'm not overly happy to be saying because it seems like sacrilege to say that, but it just, I don't know, it suits me emotionally. I love what it looks like, and I just love everything about it. So yeah, I love it. Sorry, I'm so behind, guys. Hey, Jared, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. What are my thoughts on Eterna? I really don't have much of an opinion. I know, like, Federico has the Kontiki, and which I think is kind of a cool piece. But I mean, to me, Eterna, their retail price is really high. Their resale is awful. And, you know, to me, Eterna hasn't really been relevant for a very long time. Sorry, I'm reaching under here. You know, Eterna, when the whole ETA thing going back in history, I think they really had a purpose. But lately, I'm not really sure what their identity is. I can't even really think of anything that's iconic that they make. I don't really know what to say about them. I mean, they make, you know, good movements, but I don't really have an opinion, honestly. They don't really seem relevant to me anymore. Like, I'd put them in the same group as like Quibel or some others. I don't really even think of them, to be honest with you. But I'm sure they make a great watch, and you can get a great deal on one used. I mean, that's for sure. They have a lot of good value. Hey, Eric. I was actually just talking about you, Eric. Trying to remember why I was talking about you. Something related to watches, though, I promise. Let's see. What are some watch gimmicks that you like, things that aren't considered functional, like a reverso case? Sean. Watch the review I'm posting tomorrow on this micro brand. The watch tells time in a unique way, and I like it, but from a function perspective, it actually almost kind of ruins the timekeeping value of the watch. So I think that's probably my coolest thing, my favorite thing that I think is quirky. I also really like the crown guard on the Radiomir, or not the Radiomir, the Panerai Luminor. I think that's really cool. And I love, I wouldn't say it's a gimmick, but I love repeaters. Stratospherically expensive, but I think repeater watches are super cool complications. And in today's standards with electricity and, you know, everything, you don't need them anymore. Back in the day when you wanted to tell time in the middle of the night, they made sense, but now they don't. So I think they're kind of a gimmick now, but I think they're really, really cool. Wow. Jason, you went from Rolex to Seiko. Yeah, you and I have shared similar there. Where do you go to get your watch services? I'm trying to think the last place I had a watch service. The watches that I've had, that fortunately broke, were under warranty, so I've taken them into the dealers that I bought them from, and they were taken care of that way. The last time I took one in to get it serviced, I took it in, I had a Breitling that I was just talking about earlier that had a scratched crystal on it, and I took it to a dealer and they wanted $800 to fix it, so I told them to screw themselves. And I sold it as is, and they didn't fix it. So ideally, you find a good watchmaker that's independent. And locally, I haven't had to look for one yet, knock on wood, but I would go to an independent at some point if I needed to. I wouldn't go to a manufacturer. I'd get ripped off. Kindred, do I like motorcycles? Absolutely. And the only reason I don't have one right now is 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I was going to buy one. I wanted a ZX14 really, really bad. And I was riding a Ninja at the time, and I crashed it. I hit some gravel going around a corner, laid it down, and walked away unscathed. But you know, you have a 400+ pound bike laying on top of you, and you have cars passing by you, and you realize that you could have been killed there. It kind of woke me up. And within 2 weeks of that, too, a friend of mine was killed on his motorcycle. He actually ran to the side of a school bus. So that kind of woke me up, and I have very little self-control when I drive anyway. Anybody that knows me in real life knows I drive like an asshole. So you give me a motorcycle with no impulse control and no crash protection, and you're basically asking for me to basically be suicidal in like 2 weeks. I mean, it wouldn't be good. But I love motorcycles. So, and I know if I watch you on Instagram, I know you do too. You have some cool bikes. So I love motorcycles. I'm not mature enough to own one at this point. Oldest, what I think about Invicta. I like them a lot. I've said that on my videos. A lot of people have given me hate for that. I think the base Invicta Pro Diver is the best value watch on the market by far. I've said that a multitude of times. Because you basically can get a Seiko movement, a 4R type movement for, they have these ridiculous retail prices, which are absurd, but you can buy one all day for under $100. And so for under $100, you get a hacking, hand winding, Seiko grade movement with a nice bracelet, a nice case, and a dive watch. I mean, I don't know if a watch offers better value than that. Yeah, I think Invictas are cool on the low end. I would not if you pay retail, you're getting ripped off, and I wouldn't buy any of their plated cases. And there's like some really gaudy looking watches that they make that are hideous. But I think if you buy a basic automatic watch from them, you could do far worse. That's kind of my opinion. Wow. Sorry guys, I'm falling behind on comments again. Jason, oh, it's good. I like to be a negative or positive influence, hopefully, on that. I'm glad I got you into Seikos. Any experience with tritium lume? Yeah, both of my Rolexes are tritium Brasco. So I have both are vintage. Neither one glows anymore. And the GMT Master, actually, the dial's cracking up a little bit too. But yeah, I have tritium on both of them. I also had a Submariner that was tritium for a while too, and that one still glowed reasonably well. But yeah, that's my experience. They have a nice kind of almond color patina to them when they age, which I think is kind of cool. I like them like that. Vichy, what do I think of Swatch watches? What do I do with it? I actually have one around here somewhere. I have too many watches. I don't know what to do. So this is the only Swatch that I've ever owned that I bought myself. Those of you that followed me, remember I talked about Ash. I gave this to Ash. Obviously, I got it back when Ash died. But I think they're okay. You know, for $100, I bought it at Newark Airport. I think, you know, a lot of airports have Swatch watches, so it's kind of cool to buy one when you're on a trip. And I think the System 51 is a cool watch too. But now that I know more about watches, I'd rather buy a watch that I could get service with a manual or mechanical movement in it than a quartz piece. But they have some cool style, and as a fashion accessory, I think you could do far worse. That's kind of my take on Swatch. Rational, you hate Seiko, but you love Grand Seiko. I get it. I get it. Sindri, what do you think about the bracelet on your GMT Master 2? Forgot the reference. I have a 16710. But I want to see what you think about it. Yeah, I mean, the bracelet's okay. And actually, my GMT around here is somewhere around here. Let me grab it. I have too many watches, clearly. So I have the 16710, which is the old school with like the Rolex crown on it. It's a basic flip over. And you know, it's this is back in the days when they were hollow and links, so it's very light, and you know, it's kept decent rigidity. And I just fortunately I have all my watches on me today. I'm dropping them all off at the safety deposit box tonight, so it's just fortunate I have them all right here. They're usually never, I don't ever keep my watches at home, but yeah, so that's it. They're okay. Newer Rolex bracelets are way nicer, but I mean, these are basic, and it's a tool watch, and it's really lightweight, and it wears nicely on the wrist, so it's nice. But if you can afford or prefer a newer Rolex, the newer Rolex bracelets are way nicer. Brasco, do I prefer the Sumo or the Monster? I prefer the Monster. I think the Sumo is a better watch, but the Monster just, I don't know. There's just something about it that I can't put into words that I just really like it. It really speaks to me. So I like the Monster better, and I think I like too that it's different and it's a love it or hate it watch. I think the Sumo, everybody likes the Sumo. I like the Monster because I like that and everybody likes it. I feel special for liking it when other people don't. I like being different. Wow, sorry, I'm behind on comments again. Anthony, what did you think of Fed's video title, Not Always What It Seems, Branding and Deception? Did I watch that one? Oh, you know what? I did watch that. Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that was that big of a secret, but yeah, I mean, of course that bothers me. People, you know, you're talking about the one where he talks about like German design and stuff like that. Yeah, I used to work in marketing. I mean, that stuff has always bothered me, although I didn't do stuff like that. But I mean, that, you know, everything is, you know, buyer beware. You know, people will say things to make things seem more elitist than they are. And the reality is we live in a world where people are willing to pay more money because something says Swiss on the dial than China. And it doesn't matter that 80% of the watch could be coming from China. Well, not quite that much. But I mean, the reality is that people are people, and people are 99.9% the same. So does it really matter if a watch is made in China or Switzerland? It doesn't. We have these preconceived notions, and psychologically we're like programmed now to think that something is better than something else based on origin. And marketing milks that. I mean, people will pay more money to have something say German design on it than made in China. And you know, unfortunately, that's just human psychology. We're wired that way. So yeah, it bothers me because they're taking advantage of people that don't know any better. I mean, my rational side would say, I mean, people should know better and shouldn't be paying more anyway. But yeah, I mean, it is. There's a lot of crap out there. And a lot of the micro brands too, like he was saying in that video, I think that was the one he was talking about it. They're all basically made in the same factory. I forget the name of it right now, but there's a factory in China, Hong Kong actually, that makes the majority of micro brand watches out there. So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I'd say it's up there with, you know, the hidden, you know, like ETA movements being in 99% of Swiss watches is one of those things. I think when you first find out about it, yeah, it is shocking and it is disappointing. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my thought about it. I don't know. What'd you think? Rational though, I don't hate it when Crane destroys watches. I actually enjoy his videos. I think they're pretty funny. I wouldn't do that to one of my watches, but if he wants to destroy his own stuff, that's cool. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. Hey, Steve, by the way, from Portsmouth. Let's see. Is a Miyota auto movement worth replacing? I'd say it depends on the watch. I mean, Miyota movements are cheap. I mean, you can pick one up for under $100. And if it's a watch that it's really special to you, then I guess. But I mean, you could easily buy a watch with a Miyota movement in it for $100 or less. So it's an emotional thing. Like I have a vintage pocket watch from 1899 that I spent more money restoring it than it was ever worth. But I did it because the watch is special to me, and to me the emotional value of it was worth what the watch was worth more than the watch, and it made sense to repair it. But to me, that's a personal decision. If it was a Rolex, I'd say absolutely. But a Miyota, I think it's an emotional decision. You have to decide. Yeah, I get the way you feel too about Invicta with branding and everything. I remember when I first got my Pro Diver like 12 years ago, and I saw Invicta as like on the side of the case. My first thought was I just wanted to shave it all off because it just was like, it looked, yeah, I'm with you. And there's a lot of these like gold-plated, huge-ass watches that they make too that I just think are nauseating. So I'm with you. But I do think, again, there are some good pieces out there. Andy Hunter, what do I think about replicas? I don't like them. I shouldn't say that. I think they're interesting to look at. Like I know Nav's son, I don't know if he's still watching or not. I've been tempted to ask him to get me one in from China just because I'm fascinated to see how they've replicated stuff. Like I don't want to own one and I don't want to wear one, but I'm like, to me, the whole process of them trying to create a copy, I'm really curious to see how they engineered it, how good they did, like just to understand it. So I would like to see one just to take it apart, but I would never wear one. The last time I cared about replicas, I was 13 years old and I was wearing one in high school because I cared about what people thought about me. So I've kind of moved beyond that point of my life. And Steve, I was actually talking about your Seamaster earlier. They were asking me about Omega services. So if you want to chime in about your experience sending your Omega in for Omega service and how they treated you, feel free to share that. How much have I spent on watches so far? You spent about 13 grand at this point. I don't want to answer that question on here. Suffice to say, yeah, I don't want to go there. There'd be another nice car sitting in my driveway right now in terms of watches, but I think some of that too is I love cars, and buying some of these watches has prevented me from buying more cars that require oil changes and maintenance and inspections and stuff and having to deal with it. So, but yeah, there's easily enough to have another nice fun car sitting in the driveway right now. So hopefully though, the ones I bought, unlike the car, will not depreciate and I can sell them for what I paid for them or break even or make a little money. So we'll see. It's all a gamble. Wristwatch check, Mr. Stranger. So I'm going to be reviewing this watch tomorrow. I'm just going to show it to you guys from a distance. It's going to be under review. It's a micro brand that got sent in to me for review. So you can see about it tomorrow. Oh, wow, I'm again behind. Sorry, guys. Let me catch up. Vishy, please forgive me. I'm going to ask you an awful question, but I can't resist asking, what do you think of Archie Luxury? You know, I get asked that question every time I do a live session. Everybody asks me what I think of him. Everybody asks me what I think of Urban Gentry and, you know, fill in the blank other channels. So sorry, I'm losing my voice. I know you guys are probably expecting me to trash him or whatever, and I have nothing against Archie Luxury. So there you go. He was one of the first guys I watched on YouTube. And when I was first getting into watches, I kind of, you know, I looked up to him a little bit. His channel has changed a lot since I first started watching him. And I don't know Archie / Paul Pluta in real life, so I don't know who the real one is. he definitely has become more of an entertainer than a watch channel. And I would be lying to you if I said I don't occasionally enjoy watching his channel for the entertainment value. As far as giving sound watch advice, I think it's debatable whether or not he does, but he definitely, he's had some nice watches and he knows a lot. But I watch him as a character actor more so than to get watch knowledge. So that's kind of my take. I mean, I'd be happy to meet him. I have nothing against him. I'd be interested to know what the real guy's really like. I don't know. He just could be a really good actor. So, but I do think, again, I saw his stuff when he first came on YouTube, and he knows his stuff, and I think he's, I don't know who the real guy is, so I don't have an opinion on somebody I've never met. He's an interesting guy, and that's my thought. Yeah, the Pan Europe Chrono, that's and the Khaki King are really cool watches. Yeah, I agree with you. Do you know if engraving a Rolex case back voided its warranty? No, it doesn't void the warranty at all. But I would also add the caveat, though, it's probably going to hurt resale a little bit. So no, it doesn't void the warranty at all because, I mean, it doesn't affect any of the componentry in the watch. But if you go to sell a watch that's been personally engraved, I mean, you're going to have that much smaller of an audience because how many people are going to want to buy a watch with like your name or something on the back of it? So I'd keep that in mind, but it shouldn't void the warranty. What do I think of the new Seiko Prospex Transocean? I think it's a bit expensive for what it is, but I think it's a really cool looking watch. So I like it a lot, but I think they want a little too much money for it. Brasco, I'm interested in the new Alien Covenant film. I haven't seen previews for that, so I don't know. I've only seen the original Alien. I like space war kind of stuff, so I don't know. Honestly, I've been so busy traveling and everything else, I guess I missed that. I'll have to check that out, so I don't have an opinion, so I'll have to check that out. Troy, what do you think of the Blancpain Bathscape, perhaps a future classic? Yeah, I do. I think that's kind of cool. To me, Blancpain's one of those companies I really don't know what I think about them. Yeah, the Bathscape is a cool looking watch. The one Blancpain though that I've always lusted after, and I just haven't because I guess fear of servicing and other issues, is the 50 Fathoms. I still think the 50 Fathoms is probably my favorite vintage dive watch, more so than a Submariner or other ones. I would happily wear a 50 Fathoms. I've debated buying them on multiple occasions. I just have a tremendous fear of massive service cost on them. But that's probably the one Blancpain that I've lost it after is the 50 Fathoms. But yeah, the Bathscape too is a cool watch. And yeah, Blancpain's a cool brand. Yeah, that's a cool watch. Salutations from France. Hey, greetings. What do you think about the Citizen NY 0040 diver? I don't know what that is. Let me look that up. There's only like 50 million models of watches out there, so I apologize. I don't know every watch on the market at this point. Oh, yeah, I know what those are. That's a cool watch. Yeah, I mean, it's a basic dive watch. I think you could do far worse than that. That's a cool watch. I would definitely recommend one of those. I didn't realize it was called the NY 0040, but yeah, I mean, that and the Seiko SKX I think are two great entry-level diving watches for Japanese watches, and yeah, that's a cool watch. Let's see. Do you think 7S26 divers in original condition will be collectible in the future? Will many decide to just replace them once instead of servicing the original movements? Determining what's going to be collectible in the future is one of those things that I could never, figure out. It changes every day what people think are going to collect in value. I mean, the 7S26 they've made for so many years now. It's not like it's a rare watch by any stretch. There are bazillions of them. So I don't know about that. And I suspect too, like you said, if they've ever decided to service one, it's probably just cheaper to buy a replacement movement online. I don't think it's ever going to be a scarce thing. That'd be my guess. But I think some special models with a 7S26 may be for sure. Yeah. Like I'm sure at some point, once it's no longer popular and then it becomes kind of a history piece, like a Patty Turtle or something, a vintage one, or like as soon as a vintage Turtle or even an SKX, I think will become collectible potentially. But it's one of those things. Who knows? Sorry, guys, I'm way behind. I can't keep up with these guys. These comments are coming in so fast. Favorite car? That's an impossible question to answer. So I've been fortunate to drive thousands of cars. There was a brief time I was a valet in a very, very expensive area where I was driving Rolls-Royce and Bentleys like every week. And so I really kind of formed a lot of my car opinions at that point. I've driven a lot of really exotic cars. And that's actually the reason that I actually own a Lexus LS, because I remember coming away after driving a bunch of Bentleys and Rolls-Royces at the time and thinking the Lexus was a better car, which you don't have to agree with me. But I own one now because that car made such an impression on me. I think the best luxury car I've ever driven in my opinion, which you guys are welcome to disagree, as a pure quality luxury car, I think is the Lexus LS by far. But I mean, that's not to say a BMW 7 Series or S-Class are inferior. I think they have their own charms, but I wouldn't want one out of warranty. But to me, it's all depending on time period and the class. Like, to me, the best cars in the world in the 90s were BMWs. I love BMWs from the 90s. E31, E32, E34, E36, E38, E39. I love those cars, and I'd be happy to own any of those in good condition. They drive spectacularly. If you guys have only driven modern BMWs, if you ever get the chance to go back and drive a BMW from the 90s or older, totally different car. And the BMW of the 90s is the BMW that I love. But, you know, there's just so many cars out there. I mean, like right now, I love my Lexus LS. I'm a Corvette guy, but I like 911s too. I'm not really into exotic cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis. They don't really speak to me. Anything crazy exotic, I mean, I think Pagani Zonda R Roadster is probably up there. The Porsche Carrera GT, the original McLaren F1, you know, like scary cars, a lot of horsepower, manual transmissions, kind of what does it for me. I love SUVs, like I love, you know, the Land Cruisers. I've been thinking about getting like a Lexus GX or something. That's kind of my stuff. I'm all over the place. I love vintage Japanese cars, the NSX, the Skylines, the R32, 33, 34. I'm all over the place. I don't have a favorite car. So yeah, I'm sorry. There's too many of them I want to own. Ever fancy getting an Aston Martin? Excuse the DB5. Yeah, I've driven a couple Aston Martins, and I'll be honest, the only one that I've like drooled over besides the DB5, which is gorgeous, is the DBS. The one that Daniel Craig drove in Quantum of Solace. That car is spectacularly pretty. I don't care that it's slower than all the other cars in its class or anything like that. That car is gorgeous. That is my favorite modern Aston Martin. So if somebody wants to give me one of those and pay for the maintenance costs, I would definitely take it. Aside from has film, pop culture influence any other watch buys? That's a great question. Yeah, my love of the Navitimer is probably from vintage aviation films. And I'm not a big John Travolta fan, but seeing the advertisements with him, and he has a Boeing 707, which is one of my favorite vintage airplanes. And they did a lot of sponsorship too. Breitling also has the a Super Connie, or a Lockheed Constellation, Super Constellation, for those of you that don't speak nerd like I do. That stuff emotionally definitely spoke to me. You know, the GMT Master, you know, the vintage Pan Am pilots, very much romantic to me. So yeah, it definitely has. So yeah, I mean, even Seikos too. I mean, like the whole Bond thing too. Bond wore Seikos back in the 70s too for a while. So yeah, I mean, the power of marketing, even when I think I'm impervious to it, it definitely can get a hold of you, can it? Yeah, kindred spirit. He's really a class act in real life. I don't, like I said, I don't know. I'd be happy to meet the guy. I'd be surprised if he's really like his character is. I don't quite believe that he is. Bishy, I think you're in the most sober, grounded watching these on YouTube. Your comments to stay truthful. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate that. I really do. Yeah, I don't understand all these people on YouTube, you know, pretending to be people that they aren't, and you know, I don't know. I putting up acts and stuff like that. I don't understand it. So I appreciate it that you appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I think, you know, I am who I am, and I like talking with you guys and just being real with people. That's you know, life is short. It's too short to be someone you're not. Do I still have the SM? Oh, Seamaster. Yeah. Where is it? Like I was saying earlier, I have my watches here today because I'm dropping them all off at the bank. So I would never have my watches at home with me, but I happen to have them here today because I have to drop them off at the bank. Yeah. So there's the SMP. I still have it. I still enjoy it. This is kind of one of my travel watches, and the camera's never going to pick it up here. But I had to refinish the bracelet because some idiot brushed the whole thing down. So I've actually fixed the brush surface on it now. So it's kind of the way it used to be. So making a mess here. It's a good watch. Wow. Sorry, I got to find a way to get these comments better managed. Hold on, guys. Sorry, my comment section dropped off and I can't read it. Is no, the real Paul is the complete opposite. I'm aware of the MB. It's amazing. Yep, it's a good watch. Good point, Bob. TGV is the same way, just a character played by a method actor. Yeah, I don't know TGV either, so yeah, I don't know anything about him. What do you think about Invicta buying Glycine? I've talked about that on previous live chats. You know, Glycine wasn't really selling, so I hope Invicta putting some money behind them will hopefully bring them back, because Glycine's kind of been irrelevant. So if you like Glycine, be thankful, because they probably would have been non-existent anymore had somebody not bailed them out. So hopefully they'll do good things. The alternative was they're probably just going to disappear. So I hope that works out. Hey, Bob from Brisbane. Lots of different answers. Say, oh, it definitely voids a warranty. Some say no. Are you sure of the answer and familiar experience in this matter? I'm not sure of the experience with Rolex. I know people that have engraved JLC Reversos that did it and had no issues with warranty. So I can't say to Rolex in particular. So no, I can't say that. And you know, you can always look on the forums. I'm thinking logically, there's zero reason why they should. But no, I would definitely, I can't say that I know for sure Rolex would not void the warranty. That would seem ridiculous to me, but not to say they're not capable. So no, I don't know Rolex in particular. I know JLC has not voided warranties for that. Thank you, Bob. How do you feel about Tudor models? Do you like, and they lost it some of their momentum with the new player? I like Tudor. I have a vintage Tudor Submariner that I don't wear that often, Snowflake. I like the new Tudor. I like what they've done. I like that Rolex is making them unique. And I'm okay with the Black Bay Chrono using the Breitling B01 movement. I think the Breitling is a good movement. I actually really like modern Tudors. And to me, they were kind of irrelevant. To me, they were like a cut rate, low cost alternative to a Rolex. And now I feel like they have a unique identity, and I'm really happy with where they're taking the brand. They're not just a different version of a Rolex. To me, they have an identity, and I appreciate that. The Black Bay to me is probably my pick. I love the Black Bay. I don't need a dive watch. I already have too many, but that would be on my list. I like those a lot. Best entry-level luxury brand, Hamilton and Oris would be top of my list for best entry-level luxury brands. Oh, sorry, these comments are like impossible to read. Best bracelet on a watch you've ever owned? Breitling. Breitling makes the best bracelets on any watch I've ever owned. The Breitling bracelet on my Colt was wonderful. The bracelet on my Navitimer, wonderful. I think Breitling bracelets are the best in the business. They're a pain in the ass to size, and they can be fragile, and they can be extremely expensive to fix. But in the flesh, they're fantastic. Have I ever serviced the Seamaster Professional? No, I have not. So how much would it cost? I don't know. If I took it to a watchmaker, I'd expect I'd get charged between $150 and $300, since it's an at the 2892 based movement, but I don't know. I suspect Omega would charge you between $600 and $800. Ever been to any of the watch factories? I have not. I've been in a lot of factories, but never a watch factory. That'd be kind of cool. I've watched a lot of videos. I've been in a lot of car factories in a previous life. I love being in car factories. If you ever get a chance, I'd definitely go into a car factory. And the Boeing factory in Everett, Washington was a cool place to visit. But I've been in a lot of factories, and they're one of my favorite places to be, but I have not been in a watch factory. Your wife was yelling at you. I didn't even know what to say to that. That's funny. Omega or Tudor are probably the best entry level. Yeah, I guess it depends on what you consider entry level. I'm thinking below $1,000. But yeah, I mean, if you're paying more than $1,000, I would agree with that statement too. Sorry, I have all this natural light behind me, but the idiot architect that built my house in this bedroom, this is my spare bedroom, I have an office, didn't center the window. So I have all this natural light flooding a closet, and the whole back of the room is shattered in darkness. These idiots, I don't know what they were thinking. Nero, yeah, the Hamilton piping rock is cool. Sorry. Oh, just a sec. In history, Woolworth building was the tallest semi standing gyms. What's your current fave and why? That's my current favorite right there, the Panerai. I love it. It's quirky. It just it oozes passion. And I like that it's the Radiomir too, not the Luminor, so I feel like less people have it. I don't know. Every time I look at it, I smile. It makes me smile every time I look at it. It's just a cool piece. It's just I don't know. I look at it and I think of my Italian family. There's just like a lot of love and passion I feel when I hold that watch. So even though technically it's not the most brilliant thing, but that's probably my favorite. Do I own any Hirsch straps? Not anymore. I want to say I did a couple of years ago, but I apologize. I don't really remember. What do I think of the Citizen Signature Automatic Collection? I really like them a lot. I just think they're overpriced. I actually looked at buying a Grand Touring for the longest time. In the flesh, I think they're really nice watches. They have beautifully decorated movements for the price. But you know, for Grand and more, and on deep discount, I think they're still $600-700. I think they're still a little bit overpriced. I would, if they were 400-ish, I would own one. But yeah, that's kind of my thought. But in the flesh, if you ever get a chance to hold one, I mean, they feel very well made, and they are, I mean, at least on the surface, very well made watches. And I know my friend CG has a Grand Touring, or I think her father has one, and I know she loves it too. And I know James and CG from It's Kibble Talk Watches, James, I know they both love Citizen. Citizen's just never really spoken to me, but I do really like the signature line of watches. Thoughts on selling Rolex for $5 million? Nicholas, I don't know about that one. Sorry, I don't know the background on that. I'll have to fill me in on that. I don't know what you're talking about. Apologize. Apparently I've been living under a rock and I missed something. What do you think Rolex is going to be worth more of the current line in the future? What do you think? Like translation, what I think is going to be a future classic for Rolex? I think a Milgauss at some point is probably going to turn back up as a future collectible, because typically the Rolexes that end up becoming like crazy expensive are the ones that nobody bought when they were new and they only made limited quantities. Like the Daytonas used to be really cheap. The original Explorers used to be really cheap. So that'd be, I don't know. I would think a Milgauss, probably the current Explorer 1 maybe. You know, it's really hard to figure this stuff out. The Daytona is always going to be collectible. I'm sure the Deep Sea at some points, the Cameron Deep Sea is always going to have something special about it, and I don't really know. If you were given a month to travel Japan, where would you like to go, and what would you like to do? Nebraska, you know, that'd be a dream for me. I was actually supposed to go a couple of years ago with Ash before Ash died, but I'm going to say really touristy crap that only a foreigner would say. I'd like to go to Tokyo. I would like to go to Yokohama, and I'd like to go where they have the car meets, Daiko, I can't remember what it's called. There's the parking lot in Yokohama where they always have these crazy car meets. I'd love to go there, hang out with some of the JDM crowd there, and hang out there. I'd love to stay in a ryokan. I'd love to visit an onsen. I'd love to go to Kyoto. I'd love to go to Hokkaido, Nagoya. I'd love to go to like Toyota City, Osaka, Sapporo. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot that I'd like to see. I'd like to hit all the big cities. I'd like to have some traditional Japanese experiences with ryokans and onsens. I'd love to really get into car culture there. If I was there a month, I have a feeling I'd sign up as an English teacher and never come back if they'd let me. So that might be a dangerous trip. Sorry, I'm behind on comments again. Watch Time LA, Omega Moon manual wine watch versus Seamaster blue dial and bezel. Which do you choose? Also, your Instagram link is broken. Yeah, sorry guys, my Instagram link is broken. I changed the title to my channel on Instagram and I forgot to update all the links. So forgive me for that. Let me find it now because I'll forget about it. And I would go for the Speedmaster. That would be my pick. So here's my Instagram. I apologize. I'll pop it here in the comments. I've been too lazy to ever bother to update the links like I should. But I would definitely go for the Speedmaster. I already own the Seamaster. It's cool, but to me the manual wine is the traditional Omega. That's the one to have. That's an icon. But my grandfather also has an original one, which I love. So, you know, I guess I'm biased because I've always grown up with one in my life. Yeah, Mr. Stranger, exactly. The ones that have meaning are the ones that are special. But you can't always justify, like, it's people make fun of me because I'm such a car guy, and I no joke, every time I get into like my old Lexus LS, I always kind of mutter to myself, I love this car. Like, I kid you not, like my friends make fun of me all the time. They're like, what the hell's the matter with you? Like, why do you like this car? It's an old people car. But every time I get in it, every time I drive it, especially when I get back from these trips where I'm driving rental cars and I get back into my car and I close the door and it's just like, I sit there and I smile, like the car just makes me happy. And it's the same thing with the Panerai. I can't, justify it. It's just one of those things that it just speaks to me, and I get it. There's just some things in life that don't make sense. Yeah, Brasco, I know. The passion came out of nowhere too. Yeah, I don't know. Tom, any strap ideas for the Saab 35? I put mine before it died on a Hadley Roma red calfskin strap that I thought was really nice. I've also seen them on Horween straps. They look nice. Sorry guys, I'm still behind on comments. Let me catch up. Moon phase. It's a one-of-a-kind triple moon owned by the last emperor of Vietnam. Oh, you're talking about that? Yes. I'm sorry. I know what you're talking about. Yes. I think that's ridiculous, what they paid for it. But it's interesting too because they're bringing out the new Cellini moon phase, which I talked about briefly on one of my previous videos. I don't remember which one, that I love. And so I guess in that context, it's a better watch, and it's only $27,000 or something, so it's a bargain. I think people with that kind of money just look for excuses to spend money because they get bored. That's absurd to me. I would never spend $5 million on a watch. And I love cars. I wouldn't spend $5 million on a car either. But I'm very cheap. I would, that's just absurdity to me. But hey, good for them. And I'm sure the owner that sold it was a happy guy too. Nero, I'm always happy to answer your questions. I always appreciate your support. See you later. Fukuoka? Yeah, I've heard of Fukuoka too. I would like to go see that too. I'd like to see all of Japan. There's really no part of Japan that I don't want to see. So, like I've told some of you guys before, there's a part of me that feels like I'm supposed to be living there. So that's kind of what that is. Get a bronze Steinhardt. I'm not really into bronze watches, to be honest. Nylox, yeah, I've heard that work-life balance in Japan is not terrific. I know people that work there, and their idea of a normal workday and mine are very different, and I work long hours now. But yeah, I don't know. I think if I lived in Japan, working for an American company might be ideal, but who knows? I don't know. I have visions of living in a small Tokyo apartment with a massive garage somehow, which will never happen. Have I seen an Aura 65 up close? Thoughts, opinions, Randy? Yeah, I have. The Aura 65 looks really cool in person. It looks kind of vintage, but it definitely has the modern quality. I think it's the kind of the best of both worlds. I really, really like it. So yeah, it's a cool watch. It has a really cool vintage flair, but it's a modern size and modern build quality. So yeah, it's a nice watch. Motorcycles are more of a thrill. Yeah, agreed. Skip Nagoya, go to Kyushu instead. Okay. All right. I don't know why, but I'll keep that. Yeah, $5 million for that Rolex is absurd. Sorry, I'm like so behind. Any plans to buy another Saab, or did the experience put you off? Bruno. Yes and yes. So I do plan on probably buying another Saab. I think that was also part of the reason I haven't bought a Grand Seiko yet. It did really turn me off. But I love the watch so much that I think I'll buy another one at some point. But yeah, it really bothered me. So for sure. But yeah, I do think I miss owning one. And I'd say I'm probably gonna do one or the other. I'll end up with a Grand Seiko or end up with a Saab, because to me, I know I got a lot of hate for that video. To me, I like them kind of equally. But I think there's gonna be another Seiko that style in my life at some point. I just don't know when. Thoughts on Rolex Perpetual 36 mil? Great watch. I've owned the Datejust version of it. If you're just talking about the basic Rolex Perpetual, I know like Simon Crane has one with a purple dial, which I think is kind of cool. As an entry-level Rolex, I mean, it's got all the hallmarks of Rolex. It's a good size case. It's the oyster case. It's traditional, and it's just a rugged, everyday watch. So it's a great watch. If you want to go a little smaller, I think the Air King is probably a little bit better value than the standard Oyster Perpetual. Or if you can afford a little more, I think the Datejust or even like a Thunderbird chronograph is kind of a cooler watch. But the US Perpetual is a great watch, and it's probably always going to hold its value, and you can wear it just about anywhere. Billy, have I ever thought about leaving the watch hobby and settle with a beater Casio? Have I thought about leaving the watch hobby? Yes, multiple times. And even now, I mean, I love this channel. I love working with you guys, and I love putting out videos. But my passion for watches isn't what it's always been. There's other things I'd rather focus on. So I got to figure that one out. Like my passion for watches is nowhere near what it is for cars and stuff like that. But no, I think going down to a couple watches for sure, and maybe wearing the Casio every day is possible. But as my only watch, no, that's probably never going to happen. See, I have complications in oyster cases. Yeah, Nicholas, that'd be cool. Especially like again that Cellini they just did moon phase. If they put that in an oyster case, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I think Cellini is, I don't know, that's where they do all the high complication stuff. I think Rolex is very polar about how they separate their blinds, but it would be cool to see something really complicated in an oyster case, something more complicated than like the Yachtmaster too. What I think about watch straps in that market, like I've said earlier in this conversation, I apologize, I don't know much about them. Forgive me. Yeah, I've heard that there's a word for death by overworking in Japan. I don't remember what that word is. What I think about quartz movements, respect them, don't speak to me, but they're better timekeeping devices. So if you're looking to tell time, they're the way to go, but they just don't speak to me. Nagoya is notoriously rude by Japanese standards. Nagoya Jin have a bit of a chip on their shoulder, generally speaking. I've never met anybody from Nagoya, so I guess I wouldn't know. But all right, well, I don't know. We'll see. I like I said, I'd be happy to visit any part of Japan. Wow, and I finally caught up on comments. I feel accomplished. And a SARB 35 and 33 in Brights, and honestly, they do not compare to the quality of my Grand Seiko, just an opinion. You're welcome to your opinion, and I'm glad you feel that way, because if you spend that kind of money on a Grand Seiko, I think you should feel like you got a lot more for your money. So I'm really happy that you feel that way. It sounds like you made a right decision, and that's the way to go. And Cartier, yay or nay? I like Cartier. I don't know if I don't like them enough to buy one, but yeah, the tank is cool. You know, it's kind of a classic piece from them. I think it's always going to be kind of in their catalog. Personally, the Cartiers that I like are the Roadster and the Pasha. But yeah, the tank is a nice watch too. So somehow I got through all those comments, which was amazing. And I'm losing my voice, so I apologize, guys. Any like last questions or comments before I go? Because I'm not going to be able to talk much longer. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Anything else that we want to talk about before I jump out and go start drinking a whole bunch of water? Yeah, I think the part of the reason I want to go to Nagoya is because of the whole Toyota thing. I'd like to, you know, kind of see that Toyota world and stuff. Cornell Orient watches are great. I mean, they're really they're really good value. I almost used an Archieism and said bang per buck thing, but they're good. I've owned a couple. The reason I don't own them anymore is I think equivalent Seikos, I think now in my mind, I think are slightly better value, but I like them a lot. So, you know, especially the Orient Stars are really nice watches. Oh, here comes some last questions. Just want to thank you for all the content you loaded so far. One for the band today. Thanks to you. I'm extremely happy. Tom, yeah, thank you, Tom. I'm really happy you went out and bought the Panerai too. I'm happy that I grew up enough to be able to look at them. They're not something I would have always considered. So I'm happy that I changed my mind. I'm really happy you enjoyed yours too, because I lost sight of the fact that you should buy a watch that you enjoy, not just because it's something that you know, or logically is significant. So I really hope it treats you well and you continue to love it. I'm still loving mine. Is Tudor better than Omega? I can't answer. That's a personal opinion. I mean, in my mind, I think I'd consider them kind of equivalencies. I think if you're talking Rolex is better than Omega in my mind, which people could debate too. But you know, Tudor has, you know, some in-house movements now. Omega has some in-house movements now. They both used ETAs in the past. I think finishing-wise, they're very similar. I think of them actually as being pretty similar. I think depending on the watch, I think you could argue one's better than the other. I think the Speedmaster manual line to me is I prefer more than the Black Bay Chrono, but I probably like the Black Bay Standard better than the Seamaster. I mean, so, you know, and the Planet Ocean's a great watch. I mean, I think it's really personal preference. Mike, you want to see more videos? Stop slacking. I'm still putting out one video a week, which I can't believe I'm getting away with since I have like no time, but you're welcome. I don't need to do this. I don't do this for money or anything. So, you know, this is purely out of passion. So I apologize when it comes to earning a paycheck that pays for my bills. That comes first, but I'll try to keep this stuff going. Wow, all these questions came in. Thanks, Steve. And then other Steve, where do I learn all my watch knowledge from? Lots of, you know, searching online. You know, there's lots of places you can find stuff. I'm one of those people that if I like something a lot, I just retain the knowledge on it. So I would just, you know, I would Google shit to the nth degree, and like I'd be up 3 o'clock in the morning, like looking up random stuff, watching stuff on YouTube. YouTube is a great resource. You know, you can find stuff on watch movements and all sorts of stuff on here. There's plenty of people that put out better content than I do. But yeah, YouTube and Google are your best friends. You want to find out about anything, you can almost guaranteed find some good information. You read the forums, you look at a couple different sources, and if you're really passionate, within no time you'll become an expert on something. It's amazing how when you really care about something, you tend to retain it. Sorry, I'm guessing I'm getting text messages. So let me wrap this up real quick. Cellini or Patek Calatrava. I like Cellini better. The Calatrava to me is a boring watch, but it's a great watch and a great movement and all that. But I want a Cellini Prince. I like the rectangle Cellini Prince a lot, and the new moon phase I think is spectacular. Patek doesn't speak much to me, honestly. I respect them a lot, but they don't speak to me. One watch collection, unlimited budget. What do you choose? Probably something crazy like an MB&F that looks ridiculous. That's like a one-off that nobody else could have or would even know what it is, because I like being different. Yeah, the new Bambino is nice. Any Omega Speedmasters to stay away from? No, they're all great. I'd probably stay away from the reduced. I mean, they're really cheap. Well, not really cheap, but let me be clear. They're a lot cheaper compared to the standard ones, so you get a good deal on them, but they're hard to sell. But they also have Alger-based movements, so they're cheap to fix. I mean, there's not really a bad one out there. No, I just stay away from anything that's like plated. But other than that, they're great. Thanks, Brasco. Great talking to you. Thanks, Kindred. Really good talking to you, too. Thanks, Mustafa. Wow, guys. Thank you all so much. Wow, thank you guys so much. All right, guys. Thank you all. I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and I'll catch you guys around. Thanks, guys.